I stood in the freezing rain, staring at the woman on her knees before me. She was begging for forgiveness, and I recognized her face. The same face that sold me for $5,000 when I was 8 years old. My mother. My name is Sophia. I was born in a forgotten town just outside Chicago, where dreams go to die and hope is a luxury no one can afford. From the moment I entered this world, I knew I wasn't wanted. My father never smiled when he saw me, never held me close or whispered that he loved me. He stared at me with eyes as cold as winter stones. He wanted a son. He got me instead. A daughter. A disappointment. Even at 8 years old, I felt it in my bones. My father didn't love me, and he didn't love my mother Isabella either. The nights were filled with his rage, shouting that shook the walls, glass shattering, the sound of fists meeting flesh, my mother's quiet sobs in the darkness. And one grey morning he simply vanished, packed nothing, said nothing, just walked out the door and never returned. After he left, my mother became a ghost. She worked from dawn until the stars appeared, scrubbing floors in mansions we'd never own, washing clothes for families who never learned our names, cooking meals she'd never taste. I went with her everywhere, a shadow following a shadow. I carried buckets of cold water that made my small hands ache. I scrubbed floors until my knees bled through my torn stockings. Sometimes the families she worked for pitied us. They'd give us their leftovers. Stale bread, soup that had gone sour. We ate it anyway. Hunger doesn't allow pride. We lived in a house that was falling apart, piece by piece. When the rain came, water dripped through holes in the roof and pooled on the floor. We placed buckets to catch it, but there were never enough buckets. Cold winds screamed through cracked windows. We stuffed them with old newspapers that did nothing to keep out the chill. At night, my stomach twisted and growled so loudly, I thought the whole world could hear it. But I stayed silent. I bit my lip and stared at the ceiling. I didn't want my mother to know how much it hurt. Every month, the landlord arrived like a demon. His voice boomed through our thin walls. "Pay the rent or I'll throw you on the street," he shouted. My mother would beg, her voice trembling, her hands clasped together like she was praying to him. "Please, sir, just a few more days. I promise I'll have it." But his face never softened. He didn't care. We were poor, invisible, nothing. But through it all, one truth remained unshaken. I loved my mother more than life itself. She was my whole world. Then one night, everything shattered. It was freezing, snow falling like ash from the sky. My mother held my hand so tightly it hurt. Her fingers were shaking. Her eyes looked hollow, empty, lost. She whispered words I didn't understand. "Sophia, your life is going to be better now. Trust me." She led me through dark streets to a neighborhood I'd never seen before. Tall houses with golden lights in the windows. Luxury I couldn't imagine. We stopped at the largest house on the block. Inside, an old man sat in a chair that looked like a throne. He was dressed in expensive clothes. His face was hard, emotionless. He looked at me the way you'd look at a piece of furniture, like I was an object, not a person. He reached into his coat and pulled out a thick envelope. He handed it to my mother. $5,000. My heart stopped. Time froze. I understood. My mother had sold me. I grabbed her hand desperately. "Mama, please don't leave me here. Please take me with you." But she pulled her hand away like I was burning her. I clung to her dress. She shoved me to the ground. Hard. Then she raised her hand and slapped me across the face. The sting burned my cheek, but it was nothing compared to the pain in my chest. She leaned down close. Her voice was low, cold, hateful. "If you follow me," she hissed, "I will kill you." Then she turned and walked out the door. She never looked back, not even once. That night, my childhood died. The old man's name was Mr. Donovan. He was wealthy beyond measure, but wealth hadn't made him kind. He screamed at his workers for the smallest mistakes. He slapped them when they moved too slowly. He ruled his house with fear. I became his servant, a scared little girl with no one to protect her. He made me clean his black luxury car every single night, even when my hands were raw and bleeding. He made me scrub the floors of his enormous office on my hands and knees. He made me polish his shoes until I could see my reflection in them. I cried every night, silent tears that soaked my pillow. But no one cared. No one even noticed. I was nothing to them. One night, I overheard him talking to someone on the phone. His voice was low and dangerous. "If that girl tries to run away, I'll kill her myself." Terror gripped me. I was trapped, a prisoner in a golden cage. Days melted into months. Months stretched into years. I thought about my mother constantly. I missed her, but I also hated her. Both feelings twisted together like a knot I couldn't untangle. Then one evening, everything changed. It was summer. The air was thick and heavy. I was cleaning Mr. Donovan's study. My sleeves were rolled up because of the heat. I was exhausted, barely standing. Suddenly he looked at my arm, my right arm. There was a small scar near my elbow, shaped like a half moon. He froze. His eyes went wide. His face turned pale. He whispered something under his breath. Then he collapsed into his chair. His hands were shaking. His voice cracked when he finally spoke. "My daughter had that exact same scar. She died 15 years ago. She would have been your age." I didn't know what to say. I stood there, silent and confused. From that day forward, everything shifted. He stopped shouting. He stopped hitting people. He started watching me with eyes full of sadness and something else. Something I couldn't name. He asked me questions. About my life, about my mother, about my father. His voice became softer, gentler. One afternoon, he looked at me and asked, "Do you want to go to school, Sophia?" I nodded so fast I thought my neck would break. For the first time in my life, I felt a flicker of hope. Mr. Donovan enrolled me in school. He taught me about business, about strategy, about how to survive in a world that eats the weak. He was still strict, still demanding, but there was kindness beneath it now. Every time he looked at my scar, tears filled his eyes. Maybe he truly believed I was his daughter reborn. Maybe he just needed to believe it. Either way, he gave me a future. Years passed, I grew up. I studied every night until my eyes burned. I worked harder than anyone around me. By the age of 25, I have become his most trusted assistant. One quiet evening, he called me into his office. His voice was soft, almost broken. "Sophia, you are my daughter now. You are my family." He had no one left. No heirs, no children. So he gave me his empire, his entire company. I didn't waste it. I poured my heart into that business. I studied. I strategized. I fought for every success. By 28, I was the CEO. People called me Miss Sophia. I was powerful, wealthy, respected, but I never forgot what it felt like to be hungry, to be alone, to be nothing. I used my power to help people like me. I paid my workers well. I treated them with dignity. They didn't just respect me, they loved me. One cold evening, I was driving through downtown Chicago in my Range Rover. The city glittered with lights. Snow fell gently. People rushed past, bundled in coats. Then I saw her, an old woman with tangled grey hair, her hands shaking violently, her eyes empty and hollow. She was begging on the street corner. Something deep inside me broke. I stopped the car, stepped out into the cold. I walked over and handed her some money. She didn't even look up. I got back in my car and drove away. But the image of her stayed with me. The next evening, I was driving the same route. Suddenly, the same woman stumbled into the street. She collapsed right in front of my car. I slammed on the brakes, jumped out, ran to her. The crowd gathered around us. I lifted her head gently, checked for injuries. When she opened her eyes, my entire world stopped spinning. It was my mother, the woman who sold me, the woman I thought I'd never see again. She didn't recognize me. Her voice was weak, fragile. I whispered, "Do you have any family?" She trembled. Tears filled her cloudy eyes. I had a daughter once, but I lost her. My throat tightened. I looked into her broken face and said softly, "You didn't lose her. You sold her." Her face went completely still. Slowly, recognition flooded her eyes. Horror, shame, grief. She whispered my name, Sophia. Tears streamed down her wrinkled face. She fell to her knees in the snow, sobbing, begging. I made a terrible mistake. I never stopped thinking about you. Please, Sophia, please forgive me. I stood there, my heart tearing itself apart. Part of me wanted to scream, to walk away, to let her suffer. But another part whispered softly, "She is still your mother." I reached down and helped her stand. "Come with me," I said. She couldn't believe it. Her eyes were wide with shock. My own eyes were blurred with tears. Reporters appeared out of nowhere. Cameras flashed. They filmed everything. Morning, our story was everywhere. The entire city knew. The next day, my security guard came to my office. His face was serious. "Ma'am, there's a man outside. He says he's your father." My body turned to ice. I walked outside slowly. An old man stood there, thin, frail, trembling. He fell to his knees the moment he saw me. "Forgive me," he whispered, his voice barely audible. I stared at him. The man who abandoned us. The man who broke my mother's heart. The man who never wanted me. I didn't know if I could forgive him. I didn't know if I should. But then I looked beside me. My mother was there, crying, her face full of pain and hope. I took a deep breath. I realized something in that moment. I didn't want my pain to control me anymore. I didn't want to carry this weight forever. I stepped forward and lifted my father to his feet. "Come inside," I said. Everyone around us gasped. The guards, the reporters. They were stunned. But in that moment, I felt something far greater than success. It wasn't my money. It wasn't my cars or my power. It was my heart. My ability to choose love over hate. Today, I live with 3 parents. The father who abandoned me, the mother who sold me, and the father who saved me. We eat meals together. We laugh together. We cry together. We forgive each other every single day. My pain did not win. Love did. Some people believe forgiveness is weakness, but I know the truth. Forgiveness is freedom. It's the only way to break the chains of the past. If this story moved something inside you, if it reminded you that love is stronger than pain, then please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to this channel. Because somewhere out there, someone is waiting to hear that no matter how dark the night, the sun always rises again.